News Radio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Mark Lawrence and Joe McGranahan.
Greetings and welcome on board the WKOK Live telephone talk show. It is entitled On the Mark. I am Mark Lawrence, host of the show. The other side of the screen is Joe McGranahan, the co-host of the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for being with you. We're going to put you in Catbird tomorrow. We're going to keep you there up to and including, let's see, next Friday. Are you here next Friday also?
No, next Friday
okay,
I couldn't.
So not next Friday.
I'm headed to the State Mayor's Conference next Friday.
Oh, good for you. Well, that sounds exciting. There are certainly a lot of issues on the plates these days of mayors and people who are leading our municipalities. So that is Joe McGranahan. On the other side of the glass is a man who most recently phoned it in while he floated around on a dinghy on the Lake Chillisquaque, and that is Kevin Hurry. He is the greatest engineer in the world. Even him doing things remotely from a boat in the middle of a small lake is better than most engineers who come in here in person.
And I don't like that word, a dinghy.
Oh,
it doesn't sound very manly. He's floating on a dinghy.
Well, if you were on a ship,
Kevin's a manly man,
and suddenly you had to get out of the ship, a dinghy would be a wonderful thing.
I'd rather have a small boat.
Would you? Okay.
If you don't mind.
Well, Kevin has a small dinghy, so that's all we'll say about that. And let's see.
It's actually a four-person, but that's okay.
Four-person. Okay.
4 people can fit in his dinghy.
Okay, and well, good. And you can use it for fishing and floating and fun and sunning, and you can do.
Watch out when he gets that trolling motor.
Right, you can do like some of the boaters have done on the Susquehanna River, is use it to do some nude sunbathing while you're out in the boat. You can't see over the gunnels, and so
Kevin will be trolling in his dinghy.
Mm-hmm. So he says no. Okay,
this is just going in a wrong direction.
I want him to bring it down to the river. We're going to tie it on the back of my boat, and I'm going to haul him up and down real fast.
Oh yeah, in your dinghy, which is what
I have a 24-foot pontoon boat.
75 horse mower?
No, 50.
50. Okay. Well, they
I don't go
fast.
real fast.
Well, with those, I've seen some pontoon boats making a big wake. They make
well, there are people who have 75s. It depends on the hull, hull configuration, what the maximum. And I could put a 75 on mine, but 50. It was a 35 came with it, but I paid for the upgrade to 50. I've never really felt like I needed 75 horsepower.
Ask one of our listeners sends a note, says, ask Kevin if the happiest day in a boat owner's life is the day they buy it and the day they
get
sell
rid
it.
of it. That's right.
I don't know yet. It hasn't been. I haven't gotten to the latter stage yet.
The correct quote is the 2 happiest days in a boat owner's life are the day he buys it and the day he sells it.
Okay. But you've had a lot of happy days in between, right?
Yeah, this is my 20th year out on Lake Augusta.
Isn't that something?
I've enjoyed it. It's very relaxing.
Yeah, people are drawn to water, so it's no surprise to me that you would enjoy boating. I've enjoyed it. We boated as when I was growing up frequently and occasionally since then, mostly in canoe. Not lately, so I miss the water. I got to get back to it. No surprise that Kevin's drawn to water with the small boat, and Lake Chillisquaque is a great place to use that type of craft. So it's all good. People are drawn to water. Why is that, Joe? Answer that question.
I don't know. Because it's relaxing. You know, when you're out there and the wind is blowing or gentle breeze is blowing, the sun is shining, your boat's bouncing the water, the sun is glistening off the water. It's a very beautiful, very peaceful, very calming place to be.
I think it's a little more spiritual, too. I think it's really, you sort of actually finally get to exhale. Even in your retirement, there's a lot of to and fro, and so you can exhale and just relax.
No, there's only exhaling when you're actually rowing.
Well, that's hard work.
Then there's some severe exhaling.
Mm-hmm.
But when I bought my boat, I was worried about what happens if the motor conks out, so I bought 2 oars. And then someone told me, hey, you can't paddle a 24-foot boat.
I was just going to say, I want to see you paddle that thing.
Do you not have a requirement to have oars?
You do on smaller boats, but not on boats where you couldn't physically paddle them.
Where it wouldn't.
I'd have to run from one side of the boat to the other side and then bend over and put the oar in. But
I would pay money to see that, actually.
Well, if you had a paddler on each side.
Well, that would work, but you'd be hanging off the edge of the boat to get the paddle down in the water, practically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I want to see you try and do that upstream.
Upstream, I'd never make it. I probably wouldn't make it downstream.
Upriver, sorry.
Probably easier to just put some flippers on and push from behind.
Possibly that would be it. Just hang on and flap.
Yeah, get in the water and enjoy the. You could probably push the boat pretty well, I would think, that way.
That's why I always carry my cell phone with me when I'm out there. In case something happens, I'll call for help.
Who will you call?
Coast Guard. Well, I'd probably call Moyers Marine. They take care of my boat. So.
Okay.
I find it funny though that the Coast Guard monitors the area somewhat.
Well, yeah,
there's no
Coast Guard.
coast.
Oh, no, the
I
Coast
used to
Guard
see them
Auxiliary.
out a lot. Yeah, the auxiliary. Every year I'd have them do an inspection of my boat, and they do it for free. They come on board. They look for all the things that you need to have, and if you pass, they give you a little sticker to
But
put on
there's
the
no
side of your boat.
coast. There's no coast here.
Well,
there's
there's shores.
So what we call them, the shore guard?
No, there's still. They don't change the name just because it's freshwater.
It's one of their services, Kevin.
No,
Don't knock
I'm
it.
not knocking it. I just thought it was. I always thought it was interesting that I see a Coast Guard boat and it's not really a coast.
Rick Paulson used to be in that. You remember Rick from Paulson
Sure,
Water Rope? I don't know
absolutely.
whether Rick's still in the Coast Guard or not.
I don't know. He's disappeared.
Well,
He's
not
around.
disappeared. He's around.
Right, but yeah,
He used to be very active in
he's
it.
out of the public eye. So, yep, one of the good people. We've spoken to him about that topic, and plus, what else? Chamber, chamber-oriented things. Okay, well, folks, this is the frivolity that some folks hate. It is our opening conversation, which is wide-ranging as always, and it gives us a chance to sort of set the tone that this is a family, fun, friendly show that we'd love to hear from you about. We're talking about boating, but we're going to dig into some issues as the show progresses. Our webcam is up and running if you'd like to see into the studio. Kevin Herr is at the controls of the switcher, and he makes great graphics pop up, a good clear picture, perfect lighting, I think, with the new lights, and they're not on the highest setting, they're on the lower setting, and it just looks great. It illuminates Joe from behind. We identified that as a possible caveat to the perfection when
Cuts
Sam
down on
was
the
here.
glare on my forehead.
Is that? Well, that's true. Yeah, that's an excellent point.
My very high forehead.
Right, that does do that, but it does make a rosy glow elsewhere on in the image. But
I went to school with her, Rosie Glow. She was a nice girl.
Did you? Okay. So the webcam is up and running, despite what you might be thinking. On the Mark is brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company, family-owned dealership since 1915. You can also find them on routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and if you do, you'll see Kai at the Kia dealership, and they have a fine selection of used automobiles there, and they have a couple of great cars that are pre-owned, that are just the premier pre-owned cars that you can buy at Sunbury Motors. They love to get you into one of those virtually new cars, we'll call them. But of course, if a Kia is the way to go, just the sharpest looking, highest rated, high gasoline mileage. There is no vehicle in America right now that has more interest in owner loyalty than the Kia. They take good care of you, and then when you're ready for another one, they take even better care of you, and they'd love to serve you. And the cars are sharp looking, and they have some that are all-wheel drive, and they have a minivan one, and they have a hybrid one. And if it sounds like I'm pitching for a ride in another Kia hybrid, I am. SunburyMotors.com. Lenape Solar email in basket open. You simply email on the mark at WKOK.com, and in many cases we read your email on the radio. Lenape's 140 South 2nd Street, Sunbury. Find them on the web, LenapeSolar.com. They have three foci, and that is the HVAC Fujitsu ductless heat systems that give you ultra-efficient cooling in the summer and ultra-efficient heating in the winter, and they can put multiple exchangers in your home. They also do commercial lighting audits, and of course, as Lenape Solar implies, they can give you the power of the sun for a brighter tomorrow. LenapeSolar.com. And our let's see, our Groninger Insurance toll-free line is sponsored by Groninger Insurance.
No kidding.
Right.
What a surprise.
That really worked out. I thought we were headed for trouble there. With 1-800-795-9565 is that number. It's open for the next 90 minutes. Groninger itself, located at Front and Duke Streets, Northumberland, or Groninger themselves, I guess. Full-service agency, always asking that question over and over again. Do you know if your insurance is at the right price? And they will give you a free, no-obligation second opinion on your auto, home, or business if that answer happens to have been no, but they'd love to turn it into a yes right away. Groningerinsurance.com, the place to go for the rest of the details. What do you know?
Well, I know something that I find very interesting because I'm kind of conflicted about this one. I saw the story this morning, and I had to think about it for a little bit because I see some wrong on both sides of the issue. A Christian baker is facing a government investigation after he refused to make a cake that portrayed two Sesame Street characters as gay lovers. The trouble started when a gay rights group asked Asher's Baking Company to make a cake celebrating gay rights. They also wanted the baker to take some rather creative liberties with Ernie and Bert. The owners of the bakery turned down the job because of their devout Christian beliefs, and the other day they received a letter from the nation's Equality Commission. They stand accused of discriminating against a customer because of his sexual orientation. The bakers say they will stand by their beliefs no matter what the court decides.
Sounds like more of a copyright pickle to me.
Well, yeah, I would think first of all there'd be the copyright issue, which I don't suppose the Sesame Street people who have the copyright, I assume that's PBS or somebody aligned with PBS.
Children's Television Workshop.
Children's Television Workshop. I don't suppose they'd appreciate having Bert and Ernie turned into sexual beings of whatever stripe. So I can understand how that would be a problem, and that's one area that conflicts me. The other is, I can understand the people coming through the door and saying, would you bake this cake for us? If that's what they wanted, fine. And I can understand the baker saying, no, I don't choose to do that because I'm a Christian and I don't want to, make a cake showing these two Muppets as sexual characters, if you will. But why can't we just let it at that? Why does somebody have to file a suit over it or report them to the commission? I mean, if I respect your right to be a gay, or do I have to embrace it too? Do I have to accommodate you, or do I just have to respect your what you are and let it go at that?
Well, this is just the latest iteration. I have not read what you're talking about, but it seems like sort of a common version of this conflict between. Typically, it's a conservative businessman who's not interested in doing a cake for a gay couple or something along that line.
And that would be wrong.
Or
right.
But this image that they wanted to portray, is it something someone with certain sensibilities could consider immoral?
Apparently, it doesn't say so in the story. It says that they wanted them to take very creative liberties with Ernie and Bert. And the one person said, I had no idea Bert and Ernie were that friendly.
Well, believe it or don't, there's already a conversation that Bert and Ernie are
may be, yes.
gay.
Okay.
They may be a couple.
Well, that's fine, I guess. And if you just wanted Bert and Ernie on the cake, I would say...
Holding hands or something?
Well, just being friends, being on the cake. I wouldn't see any problem with that. But apparently they wanted them to do something beyond that. Although the story isn't that graphic, so it leaves something to the imagination. But, if the baker just was asked to bake a cake for the gay pride people and he refused it, then I think they should bring charges against him because that's not right. But on the other hand, asking them to turn two beloved, if you will, Muppet characters into some sort of sexual...
Well, they're children's characters.
Well, children's characters. Yes, they are
may
children.
Not see the cake.
Well, someone said Elmo. Of course, there was Kevin Clash, who was the puppeteer of Elmo. He was accused of... I don't think he was ever convicted, but there were accusations that he had been involved with young boys in an inappropriate way. But I believe most of those have been recanted or, withdrawn.
Of course, he has to be the one Muppet character that visited our area, so we have stories about him in our...
Elmo thinks this is crazy.
Yeah,
Elmo's great. I mean, who wouldn't like Elmo? But would you want to see Bugs Bunny turned into a... grotesque sexual being? Would that bother you? It would me.
Wait, which character?
Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
I mean, I grew up with Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote and Yosemite Sam.
I think they all have been in limited circles. Somewhere somebody's already used them in something sort of nefarious of, some way. Of course, the internet is a good way to spread that kind of stuff around until somebody gets caught, or until the copyright gets... mentioned or whatever.
Well, I would think in this particular issue, the copyright thing would trump everything else. I've been in bakeries where I see signs saying we are not allowed to use copyrighted characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they have books of things that they can do that apparently the copyrights have been paid for or the licensing has been paid for to use those characters.
Mm-hmm.
But, Bert and Ernie, I would think anybody who owns a copyright on something like that would be very careful about how it was used so as not to destroy the brand. If you take Bert and Ernie and you do something overtly sexual with them and someone takes a picture of it and it gets put on the internet and it goes viral, they've been damaged, I think, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so to a certain extent, and I think that's the whole purpose of copyright, is not just to protect the image if somebody shows it, but to protect it from being used in a disparaging manner or to use to symbolize something else.
So that begs the question, why would the government accept a suit or a complaint that these people were rejecting them just because they were gay? I mean, I guess maybe they say, if they said to the guy, no, we won't bake your cake because we don't like gay people, then I can understand them filing it. But if they said, look, we're Christians and we don't want to fight, we don't want to do this, I can understand maybe they would file there. But, you know, I would think both sides should look at the copyright aspects of this and whether or not it was appropriate to do that kind of thing to Bert and Ernie.
What's your view on this, folks? I think this is an interesting question, and this keeps popping up in various sort of ways that it has appeared. Can the government force individuals to be accepting and tolerant? We all know we all should be, or else some of us know that we all should be.
Is that acceptance and tolerance, or is that, I mean, is it intolerant not to want to bake a cake that was requested?
I would think it would be difficult to be embracing and loving and accepting of all types of people and refuse to do business with them under any circumstances. So that's the one level that you outlined. But the other one is onto the copyright and then what might be an intimate moment between Bert and Ernie. And
the Marktopia bakers would do this cake.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. We actually don't have a bakery yet.
Well,
so
you're about to get one.
You're right, okay. 1-800-79... We have a coffee shop. They could bake. They do sticky buns on Saturday morning. 1-800-795-9565 is the Groninger Insurance toll-free line. Give us a buzz. Should businesses be forced to do business with customers that they don't want to because the customer is asking them to do something that they don't wish to do? 1-800-795-9565. Weigh in on this now. We have 2 emails pending. One relates to Bert and Ernie, and the other one relates to paddling, so we'll talk about that when we come back. 1-800-795-9565. Lenape Solar email in basket is the place to get the emails to us on the mark at WKIPK.com, the address, and our main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Summer can be hot, but the furniture deals at Jim Ox Furniture are sizzling. Beat the heat and save up to 40% store-wide by shopping the Summer Sizzler Sale. Going on now at Jim Ox Furniture. Listen to these sizzling deals. Recliners are just $199 and up, with over 200 in stock, many made in the USA. Solid wood TV stands are $249 and up. Serta Perfect Sleeper Queen Mattress Hot Buys starting at $299. Save up to $1,000 on Serta adjustable mattress sets. Serta Memory Foam Queen adjustable sets now just $9.99. Plus, watch your local paper for more sizzling hot deals from America's #1 brand for bedding, Serta Mattress Company. And of course, Shimox offers free delivery, setup, and removal of your old furniture, plus 1-year interest-free financing. Life is wonderful, especially when the deals are sizzling. The Summer Sizzler Sale. Shimox Furniture on Route 61 in Comont, at Shimox.com, and on Facebook. Selling happiness since 1915.
Okay, new kid. Here's your company phone. I've pre-programmed it with every number you need in life. The first one's my personal number. Never call it, ever. The second one is 1-800-GRAINGER. Use it for everything else. Any problem you have, they can help. I've also loaded the Grainger app for you. You can download it for free. Tippity-tap on the spot. Your solution is on its way. Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, ring-a-ding-ding, the year was 1936, and Leo and Lillian Goodwin were hot to trot for the world to save some big bucks on automotive insurance. So they opened up a little joint called Geico. Geico had the goods for all the dolls and Joes who were keen on swell service and keeping the cabbage.
Flash forward over 75 years, and Geico is still helping customers save money every day, and with 97% customer satisfaction. Today, the peeps would refer to that as pretty darn tight.
Geico, saving people money for over 75 years.
Lift for Life is coming up for the Penn State football players on Saturday. The head of uplifting athletes at Penn State is linebacker Ben Klein. He'll join us today on the show 3 to 5, News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you. Do-do-do-de-o.
Geez, I don't know who sounds better, Bert or...
I always like that song, Rubber Ducky.
I like the Cookie Monster. That's the person who I most...
Cookie.
And what was the guy that lives in the garbage can? He's always upset. Grumpy or
Grouch? No, wait a second. One of my favorite songs is his I Love Trash. What's the... Have you ever heard that song?
No.
Wait, are you talking about the Trash song?
Yeah.
That would be Oscar the Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch,
okay,
that's it.
you.
Yeah, I love the Trash song. You ever heard that?
No.
You obviously don't have grandchildren.
Well, that's true.
Had you
that obvious?
I was up on every Bert and Ernie song, every Sesame Street song, because my grandson Logan listened to them all the time.
Okay. Let's see. We are talking about Bert and Ernie. We're going to be on a cake, maybe engaged in some intimate contact just between them, and a baker.
That's a nice way to
declined to. Thank you. Oh, I can phrase anything nicely. Joe McGranahan's on the other side of me. He's a very experienced announcer. How about that?
Thank you.
You know. Okay, on the topic of paddling, and this relates to boats.
The beginning of our discussion this morning, right?
Yes, it says to paddle a pontoon boat, you use a long oar. Has worked for thousands of years. And let's see, the listener.
I don't think there's been a pontoon boat for thousands of years.
I don't either,
that's just my thought.
I don't want to argue with Than. He's been boating about as long as I have, maybe a little longer.
I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying I don't think there's been pontoon boats for thousands of years.
And it says dinghy is the official name for a certain style of boats, small rowboats and sailboats, often dinghy. All right.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, I don't tip the boat over.
And on the subject of litigation, bringing a complaint against a company does not define the law. Who will win in court? Probably the religious business would win. I think that the sexual nature of the request would be enough to make a refusal to do the work make sense. Good question, Joe. Maybe an attorney should call in and define the law.
Well, I think that, there is, on the copyright law, there is a provision called fair use, where you are allowed to use copyrighted material, in certain ways, because it has become so public that this is acceptable. But when you turn it into something you do for profit, which would be where the baker, I think, would be on very solid ground, saying, I'm going to make a profit on this cake, and I'm going to do it by distorting someone's copyright by turning Bert and Ernie into something sexual. But, so I'm surprised that the gay rights group filed the complaint. Although if they kept it all on religious versus gay, then I can see how that would wind up being a subject for something in court.
Well, maybe the baker has been doing other cartoon characters in various poses for some time, and they could say, aha, well, you have a history of doing this, and then you decided not to because...
So what are you saying, Mickey and Minnie Mouse in a compromising position?
Well, I guess, but they're married, unless it's their...
No, I don't believe they ever were married.
No, I don't think they got married.
No, they never got married.
They've been dating for like
Donald
80
and
years.
Daisy Duck may have gotten married, but I don't think Mickey and Minnie ever tied the knot.
I think they did.
Well, now there we have a question for debate.
Yeah, were Mickey and Minnie ever married? I think I picture her in a wedding dress because of the wedding.
Well, I think you're wrong, but I don't think Disney ever married any of its characters off. Can you think of any characters?
I don't know. Kevin, can I use my computer to search that?
You can use yours, yes.
Okay, here I go.
No, yours.
What? Your personal computer.
Right, not the one that you want to use.
Oh, okay. Then I can't use my computer. All right, Kevin. Kevin has hijacked our computer.
It goes back again to, to me the issue is, if the Christian bakery didn't want to do it, why isn't that enough? You know, there must have been other bakeries they could have gone to. Why, if that bakery doesn't want to do it, why isn't that enough for people? Why does someone have to force them to do something they don't want to do by bringing an investigation against them? You know, if they deliberately, if they were mean, nasty, offensive in some way, insulting to the gay group that asked them, I could understand that.
Well, maybe they were.
But if they came in and respectfully said, look, we'd like you to bake this cake, we're having a celebration, we know it's a little different, but would you do it? And they said, no, listen, we're religious people, we don't really want to do that. That should be enough. If they treated each other with respect and with dignity, then I think we each have an obligation to honor the other's point of view, don't we?
Right, but I think if and again, we'd have to find the precise testimony that's going to come out probably in this, is did they do it for that reason, or are they just concerned about gays in general?
Well, I think if they came in and said, hi, we're a gay rights group, we'd like to have you do a cake for us with Bert and Ernie and doing something sexual, and they said, you know, praise be the Lord, get out of here, you heathens, or something like that, then I can understand them bringing...
Is that bad?
I can understand them bringing the charges. I think it's just how we deal with each other. I mean, I could have something I do in my life that you find repulsive and offensive on either religious grounds or your personal morality, you know, but that doesn't mean you have to be mean to me about it. We can be polite to each other even though we disagree.
You don't have to sue me because I have to pay my
Right.
attorney no matter what.
Right. You know, and I think that society's become so litigious and everybody is so willing to assume the worst about somebody else. I mean, if it had been reversed and they had gone to, the bakers had gone to the gay rights group and said, listen, we'd like you to do a tableau out on Main Street providing or promoting normal marriage between a man and a woman, and they said no, I can understand why they would, and I wouldn't want the bakery to file a suit against them. That's probably a terrible analogy, but
it is.
I couldn't really think of a better one at the time.
I'm having trouble following it.
Okay, well, never mind. I had trouble.
What's
trouble
a
when
tableau?
It came up. A tableau. Don't you remember they used to play a game in the early late 1800s called Tableaux Vivants, and it involved people posing as famous pictures, and other people would try to gather or determine what they were doing. Sort of like an early charade.
Early win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, right, something like that.
Okay. Let's see. With that, we will re-announce that the webcam is up and running, which is why I'm not allowed to touch my computer because all of its resources.
Feel free to use the computer to your left on the screen that is now a coffee coaster.
Well, the battery's compromised.
Mark's the only guy I know who stores his coffee on his computer.
I know. Don't tell the IT people. Don't broadcast that because I don't want them to know that it's my coaster. The webcam is up and running, and that is because Kevin is using all of the computer resources available to make fantastic graphics, ultra-clear picture, sharp audio, and stupendous lighting, and to make us look even handsome.
Stupendous.
Right. I think you're right. Groninger Insurance Agency, Front and Duke Streets, Northumberland. This is WKOK Sunbury.
CBS News, I'm Peter King.
I woke up to her yelling, help, help.
The other woman was trying to get her child out of an apartment house fire in Lowell, Massachusetts. There are deaths, at least 7 missing. WBZ's Carl Stevens.
The deputy fire chief here in Lowell tells me they rescued 5 people from upper floors here over ladders at the height of the flame. We also know that people were jumping out of windows. We know of at least one instance where someone on the 3rd floor dropped a girl out the window.
A Houston area man is jailed after deputies say he shot and killed a family of 4 children and 2 adults. Harris County Constable Ron Hickman.
The victims were shot in this residence, and we've now learned that Mr. Haskell was married to a relative of the residents of this home.
Investigators say Ron Haskell was upset over the breakup of his marriage after a meeting on the immigration crisis in Dallas. Criticism of the president for not visiting the border where thousands of illegal immigrants have crossed. CBS's Major Garrett.
Texas Republican Governor Rick Perry told us Americans need to see their president on the border.
That's what presidents do. That's what leaders do. They show up, they interact, and they see for themselves what's going on. So I think it's very important for him.
Perry warned the border situation could spin out of control and evoked memories of federal mismanagement after Hurricane Katrina.
In Washington, breaking news, the House side of the Capitol building is shut down after what's being called an industrial spill. CBS's Peter Mayer is live at the White House.
Capitol authorities are testing, Peter, for possible asbestos contamination from an ongoing renovation project. It's unclear how long the House will remain closed. It's scheduled to come into session about an hour from now with the House chamber off limits. The leadership's waiting for more details on the cleanup before deciding whether to change the start time or take what would be the unusual step of meeting somewhere else.
Israel says it's hit well over 300 Hamas targets overnight in day 3 of its major offensive on rocket launchers, command centers, and more. Hamas says those bombs hit private homes, including one where 8 people died. In China, Secretary of State John Kerry says the U.S. stands by Israel.
No country can accept rocket fire aimed at civilians, and we support completely Israel's right to defend itself against these vicious attacks.
Chinese hackers may have gotten some sensitive information from a government database. CBS's Heather Bosch has more live.
The Chinese cyber attack hit the Office of Personnel Management. The hackers were apparently trying to access the files of federal employees who'd applied for top secret security clearances. The hackers did get into the agency's databases. It's not clear how far. That attack happened in March. Homeland Security says there's no evidence, though, the hackers got information that would help them identify or contact anyone. Peter?
The government says first-time unemployment applications have fallen to a 7-year low. It happened last week. Looking ahead to the day on Wall Street, S&P futures down 21. This is CBS News.
You are someone who doesn't compromise, and you're never willing to settle. So why are you wearing glasses with just any progressive lenses? See the difference with Verilux, the #1 progressive lens brand, and enjoy sharp vision and smooth transitions at any distance. Verilux is the only progressive lens brand with lenses designed using wave technology. Ask your eye care professional about Verilux and never compromise your vision.
Shaquille O'Neal for Icy Hot Advanced Cream.
I know all about living with pain. After 19 years of pro ball, man. But now I'm feeling awesome. Icy Hot Advanced Relief is the real deal.
Icy Hot Advanced Cream has 2 maximum strength ingredients to last up to 50% longer. Works great on shoulders, backs, knees, even arthritis. Icy to dull the pain and hot to relax it away.
Come on now, advance past pain and get on with living.
Icy Hot Advanced. Available in cream and patch.
Pain over.
Use only as directed.
An oil derivative from marijuana is shown to be effective treatment for children with epilepsy, but many parents are frustrated because the move to legalize it isn't happening fast enough. CBS's Barry Bagnotto.
Just 10 states have legalized the use of non-psychoactive marijuana oil to treat children with epilepsy. That's forcing desperate families out of homes to get it. Critics say definitive medical trials are needed showing the oil is safe and effective. Jennifer Strouth, who moved with her family from Virginia to Arizona in May, says CBD oil is helping her 1-year-old, but that they might soon be forced to go back.
Financially, it's been devastating. We've pretty much wiped out everything we have.
Barry Bagnotto, CBS News, Washington.
Sentencing day for William Potts, the American who returned from Cuba almost 30 years after hijacking a jetliner. Their prosecutors are seeking at least 20 years. Potts wants a federal judge in South Florida to credit him for 15 years already served in a Cuban prison for the crime. I'm Peter King, CBS News.
If there were an 83% chance of rain, you'd probably grab an umbrella. If there were an 83% chance you could hit the lottery, you'd probably buy a ticket. So if there was an 83% chance that one of your vehicle's tires had a problem, what would you do? The experts at your Ford dealer know that whether it's not properly inflated, losing tread, or wearing unevenly, 83% of all vehicles have an issue with at least one tire. So have your tires checked by the factory-trained experts at your Ford dealer. They know your Ford and its tires better than anyone.
And now get up to $130 in mail-in rebates on select tires when you use the Ford Service Credit Card. And you'll always get the low-price tire guarantee on the 13 name brands we sell.
Ford, go further.
Subject to credit approval. Rebate by prepaid debit card. Competitive ad required for tire guarantee within 30 days. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined with Ford Service Credit Card rebate or offer. Data from Rubber Manufacturers Association. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 8/31/14.
News Radio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Mark Lawrence and Joe McGranahan.
Greetings and welcome back to the WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show On the Mark. We have an open hour of conversation. We've got a big hot topic coming up Joe's going to be telling us about in one split second. But I have some cursory words to go over in advance. One, the reason we're not allowed to touch our computers is because the webcam is up and running, and Kevin's using it as an electronic switcher from afar. He's putting up good graphics, sharp video, HD images, great lighting.
What cursory words are you going to be using? They aren't part of the 7 that George Carlin talks about.
Not cursing, not profanity, just cursory, like glossing over it, just a short glimpse at some of these things. Try to pay attention.
All right.
The On the Mark program is brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company, family-owned dealership since 1915. That's where they sell Ford, Hyundai, Kia, Lincoln, cars, and trucks. They also happen to be a premier service provider for every single type of car and truck made in the planet. And they also fix and deploy all sizes of trucks, whether it's a tiny little four-wheeler Ranger like mine, all the way up to a great big F750 dual-axle dump truck with a club cab and four-wheel drive. And they would just love to take good care of you in that way. And they are Sunbury Motor Company. You can check them out at sunburymotors.com. Groninger Insurance toll-free line is open. That is 1-800-795-9565. 1-800-795-9565. Groninger Insurance Agency is where you can go see John. That's J-O-N. Don't put an extra H in it. Jim, Paula, and Mel, and the rest of the staff at Groninger about making sure your insurance needs are met, your expectations exceeded, and your day made happy by Groninger Insurance. GroningerInsurance.com is their main website. Lenape Solar email in-basket open. You simply email on the market at WKOK.com. We'll read your email on the radio. Lenape's at 140 South 2nd Street, Sunbury. 17801 is the zip code. You can call them at 570-286-1496 or look them up internetically at lenapesolar.com. They would tell you that you can go two ways if you go solar. First, go to the showroom and check it out. Then you can go solar for warmth or heat. You can generate hot fluids that can be used to heat your domestic hot water virtually for free after it's installed. Or you could generate electricity and sell it back to PPL or Citizens or wherever it happens to be. All of those utilities just love you to add to the grid and to backfeed the system. You might be, under certain circumstances, you might be the only one generating electricity in your block, and Lenape Solar would like that to happen to you. In our news headlines right now, a woman lied to police and told them she was carjacked in York, Pennsylvania, then forced to drive to Snyder County. That prompted an air and ground search in Snyder County yesterday. State police say the unidentified woman called 911, told them that she'd been forced to go to a location near Shade Mountain, where the man took off and left her with her vehicle in a remote area. She was found there. An extensive search was conducted. Police later said she had made that story up. She's being treated at a local hospital. Power outages are slowly being solved by PPL now. It's less than 1,000 in the central Susquehanna Valley. PPL's spokeswoman Terry McBride says they hope to have everybody on by late tonight. Individual pockets of outages remain in each of the local counties in the valley because of Tuesday's storm. A U.S. Supreme Court justice has rejected a Pennsylvania county clerk's bid to stop gay marriages in Pennsylvania. Without comment, Justice Samuel Alito Wednesday rejected an appeal by the Schuylkill County Clerk Teresa Santi-Gaffney. She had hoped to once again make gay marriage illegal in Pennsylvania. Same-sex marriage is legal in many states, and including Pennsylvania, after a federal judge struck down the state ban that was declared unconstitutional. Governor Thomas Corbett administration, of course, doing what is obviously the right thing, recognizing an unconstitutional law when he saw it, decided not to appeal that. And a Pennsylvania woman says her late father has received a notice to register for the draft, some 102 years too late. Martha Weaver, now in her 80s herself, tells the local paper that the Selective Service System notice arrived Saturday in Rockland Township, Venango County. It's about 60 miles north of Pittsburgh. Her father's name was Fred Minnick, and the notice said that he has to register for selective service. It is punishable by a fine or imprisonment. Her father was born June 12, 1894, and would have been eligible to serve in World War I. It means that he would have turned 18 in 1912. Weaver suspects the confusion was spawned by an incorrect birth date. She did tell Selective Service of their mistake, and they said no, that was in fact she who was mistaken, and that she should simply forward the notice to her father and let him deal with any mistakes that may have been made.
How's she going to do that?
Yeah,
how
old is this letter?
It's brand new.
There is no Selective Service anymore. Is there?
Well, yeah, they're selected. Yeah, you have to file at 18.
You still have to register for the
yeah.
draft. Okay.
Yeah, come on, pay attention.
Yeah, if you want, there's even, like, if you don't file for selective service, there's a lot of college grants, loans. And
they don't give draft cards out to kids anymore, do they?
Probably not a draft card, but you get a notice that you're registered for selective service.
You did get a card that shows that you're in the selective service.
You got to register.
Yeah.
Well, you don't listen to a lot of PSAs, do you?
Well, no, but I it's an all-volunteer service. I didn't realize we were still doing that. And I thought that was one government bureaucracy that went away.
We could draft it at any moment.
Okay, well, we still might, right?
Yeah, and the important thing is that selective service received the notice that he's been dead for the better part of 2 decades, but said no, that she is in fact mistaken, and he has to register.
What if I were her? What I would do is take the letter out and put it on his grave, scotch tape it to his tombstone, and then say I forwarded it to my father.
Yeah, and this is what...
if he doesn't do anything with it, go get him.
Doesn't say if her father was a veteran or not, but she could say, Dad, you were right. They continue to mess up and mess up and mess up, and just as predicted. 1-800-795-9565. Open phones. You got something that's shaking in front of you?
I do, and I think you're going to find this interesting. A dramatic spike in the number of Americans with permits to carry concealed weapons coincides with an equally sharp drop in violent crime, according to a new study, which Second Amendment advocates say makes the case that more guns can mean safer streets. The study by the Crime Prevention Research Center found that 11.1 million Americans now have permits to carry concealed weapons, up from 4.5 million in 2007. The 146% increase has come even as both murder and violent crime rates have dropped by 22%. When you allow people to carry concealed handguns, you see changes in the behavior of criminals, so says the center's president, John R. Lott. Some criminals stop committing crimes, others move to crimes in which they don't come into contact with the victims, and others actually move to areas where they have less fear of being confronted by armed victims. We found that the size of drop in the crime is directly related to the percentage of the population with permits, Lott said. Between 2007 and the preliminary estimates for 2013, murder rates have fallen from 5.6 to 4.4 per 100,000. Now, there is another side to this. Todd Burke, a former police officer and a professor of criminal justice at Radford University in Radford, Virginia, says he doesn't buy the idea that gun permits are driving the reduction in crime. Burke said several factors, including smarter, data-driven policing and increased incarceration of violent criminals, likely play a bigger role. He said, I think we have to be cautious about having a casual relationship between gun permits and a decrease in crime. Lott's theory is one to consider, but it's not to the exclusion of others. So, but if you believe the numbers, if you just believe the statistics, it would appear there is a correlation between the number of people carrying guns and the reduction in crime.
Yeah, but I don't know that I don't think there is a correlation. I just think it's coincidence. I think, there are fewer violent crimes, period. More people are interested in concealed carry, period.
Why would you say then that there was a drop? Do people just getting better? Is Marktopia finally sinking in with a lot of people?
Well, I guess that's possible, but I think the... Okay, so I have a concealed gun, and you're a mugger. How do you know that I have a concealed gun? Why would the fact that someone might have a gun in greater numbers affect anything? Because people could always have had a gun.
Well, yes, but the fact is that if I'm a smart criminal, I read the numbers, I know that the number of people carrying guns has dramatically increased.
We have to stop you there. Your premise just fell through.
All right.
Smart criminal.
Well, you think some criminals are smart, or some?
I suppose it's possible some are.
Well, if you just by the nature of things, if you know that you see people with guns and people have more guns, is that a deterrent?
I think it could potentially, possibly, if you have a criminal that's really thinking this through. But I don't think criminals think about guns and who's carrying and who's not. They overpower people that have concealed carry permits all the time. Look at the number of people that were robbed there, that were mugged. I mean, true muggings where you come up to somebody on the street and take some money from them who did have a gun and either didn't have time or that the gun was also stolen.
Well, yeah, okay, but let's face it. Something made the reduction in
I think crime is down because crime is down.
Why? Things are better? The economy's picked up? People are at work? That's not so.
Well, I'm not sure that I could definitely tell you why crime is down, but the trend has been underway. But I think the increased number
not
of
all crime, violent crime and murders.
Right. I think concealed carry permits probably doesn't have anything to do with that. Dave, thanks for calling in. You are on the mark.
Oh, good morning. Did you see the recently released Bureau of Crime Statistics report that in the last 7 years, concealed carry permits have increased 130%, and violent crime has decreased 22%?
That's what our study. That's the study I just quoted, I believe.
Yeah. That the states that have open carry, concealed, are lenient with their concealed carry permits and so forth, are the states that have the least amount of violent crime. So we need more people to carry, more gun education as far as how to use them. That it's obvious the laws aren't working. Otherwise, all we'd have to do is make a law that says a felon isn't allowed to own a gun.
Well,
or we'd have to make a law that shooting someone is illegal.
Well, six states.
The laws aren't working.
Dave, 6 states that don't require a permit for legal gun owners to conceal their weapons have some of the lowest violent crime rates in the nation.
That is correct.
Do you know which states they are by any chance? It does the story.
One of them, I think, is Montana.
And so in Montana, they have they don't require you to have a permit to carry a concealed weapon.
That's right.
Carry permit.
Right.
So, all right.
You don't have to have any kind of permit, as far as being a registered gun carrier.
Well, so you think there is a correlation then?
Oh, definitely. I mean, look at Chicago. Chicago over the holiday weekend, they had 30-some shootings out there. But Chicago is virtually a gun-free zone because you're not allowed. Very few people are allowed to have a concealed carry permit or a gun owner permit in Chicago.
Is that a current law or is that an old law? I do recall that they recently changed the carry laws.
They recently changed to allow some people to carry, but it's still very few people have a carry in Chicago legally.
It's now $600 is the fee for carrying a concealed weapon in Illinois.
Wow.
$600. It's $10 in South Dakota. So there's quite a disparity between those two locations.
I'm surprised that Chicago fee's constitutional. So discouraging of people using that right.
Well, not only that, but you have to show an ID to get your permit.
Okay.
Well, I would think so. You'd have to have an ID. You'd have to have a permit to have the gun, period, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing. You have to have a government photo ID to have a gun permit, but yet it's discriminatory if you have to show an ID to vote.
How is that? We've kind of beaten this horse into the ground, I guess, but it does seem to me a little strange that you have to have a photo ID to carry a gun but not to vote, but whatever.
Well, I mean, a lot of stores you have to have a photo ID to return something, too, but, or to cash a check, but, it's just the way the screwy system works.
That's a good point.
But yeah, the places with the higher concealed carry, open carry, and so forth, the less crime. They also in one of those reports just recently released that people with concealed carry permits were less likely to be arrested for any kind of crime than police officers.
Wait, say that last sentence again.
Yeah, people that have concealed carry permits are less likely to be arrested for any kind of crime than police officers. So, like the police officer crime rate was like 0.124 or something like that. So it's not very many policemen that get arrested for anything. But still, the crime rate for concealed weapons carriers was even less than the crime rate for police officers.
Yeah, you got to be on your toes if you're packing because you don't want to get arrested and have to go through that and lose your guns.
The thing of it is that the people that are carrying concealed weapons and getting concealed weapon permits are more law-abiding than even the law people.
Even the lawmen.
That's what this study brought out, that your concealed carry permit people are more law-abiding than your law officers.
Well, I think we're connecting some unconnectable dots, but I do appreciate your opinion. Yeah, and that's interesting about the people carrying, because I have a carry permit, and I always think that, if you ever get arrested for some kind of a felony, then you lose your carry permit, and you can lose some of your guns depending upon what the crime is. So, that's correct. That's
especially if you use the gun to commit the crime.
Well, yeah, then you're done for 5 years minimum. Thank you, Dave. Really
thanks
appreciate
a lot.
it.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
We're going to take a quick break. One of the smartest listeners in the world says the crime rate went down before loosening all of the gun laws.
What gun laws were loosened?
Well, Chicago used to ban handguns in the city, and now that you can get it with the...
A lot of these have been the result of federal court cases, not loosening. I mean, that makes it sound like the government decided, let's loosen this up.
But see, a lot of things
Some of these
changed.
things have been pried out of the government's hands.
A lot of things have changed over the years, and gun and violent crime rates have gone down. I mean, the climate is getting warmer. Our industrialization, we're sprawling more. We have.
So you blame what? Global warming for the decrease in crime?
If you want to connect unconnected, coincidental dots, you could draw up all kinds of things. The vehicles have gotten safer, all kinds of things.
And this has reduced crime?
No, and neither has the number of carry permits out there. Thank you very much. You just made my point.
Well,
we have
I
to
think
take
I
a quick...
didn't make your point.
From my cold, dead hands.
No, we're not talking about banning handguns. Sorry to pull him out of the grave. 1-800-795-9565 is the Groninger Insurance toll-free line. Lenape Solar email in basket has notes sent to it at onthemark@wkok.com. And our main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Hello, this is Justin Charles from Lenape Solar. Did you know that through energy savings of almost $5 million per year, our customers are saving the environment the equivalent of over 98 million miles of driving and eliminating the annual carbon dioxide emissions of over 5,600 homes each year? Do you want to know how to be a part of these amazing numbers? Call us at 286-1496 or visit us online at Facebook or lenapesolar.com today and find out more about our exclusive Buy American partners for solar energy and energy-efficient lighting upgrades.
Wherever you are right now, right this moment, you've never been closer to saving a child. Every minute, malaria claims another life. But donating just $1 provides a life-saving test and treatment for one child in Africa. $1 given, one child saved. We have the tools to ensure no child dies from a mosquito bite. $1 at a time, one child at a time. That's the power of one. Save a life now by donating $1 at PO1.org.
By 2025, it's estimated that half the world's population will lack access to safe drinking water. A sorry state of affairs, as 2/3 of our planet is covered by water. We are helping develop solutions for salt water to satisfy the thirst of future generations. BASF, the chemical company.
You know you're not supposed to drink and drive. You know you shouldn't talk on the phone, and worse yet, text and drive. But for some reason, you still do it. Are you impressing your friends? Maybe you just think you're being cool. But if you do get into a deadly accident, you impress no one when you're dead. Say no to distracted driving. Bet you your family and friends will think you're cool.
This message brought to you by the stations of Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation, including News Radio 1070 WKOK and Sealands Grove Ford, proud supporters of Susquehanna Smart Drive.
You want to crash this Constitution? Is that what's in your plan? You can take my gun from my cold dead hands.
Welcome back to the WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. I am Mark Lawrence. Good to see you all on the webcam. Thanks for joining us. I see the number of viewers is way up, so thank you, Kevin, for doing the work to make it worth it. Mark Lawrence and Joe McGranahan on the Mark Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. It says right on the graphic, so fantastic.
Now, do you know which state has the most concealed carry permits?
The most concealed carry permits that have been issued.
Right.
What does New York issue them?
Yes. Well, it doesn't release the data. New York doesn't release the data, but it does.
Okay. What about Florida?
You got it. Florida.
Okay.
That's the most carry permits. 1.3 million. Now, I would have thought Texas would be, but Texas is second at just more than 708,000, and the state with the fewest, Hawaii, 183.
Huh. Interesting. One of our listeners agrees with me that if you put a set of coincidental dots together, it does not make a drawing of a gun. This is from Caitlin, and who is clearly and so increasingly, obviously, the third smartest woman in the world. Joe must agree that a lack of pirates caused global warming. As you can see by the attached graph, the average global temperature has risen as the number of pirates has decreased. Case closed.
I believe she's onto something here.
I think she is, yeah, definitely, and it's the fact that you're full of
We
it.
need more pirates.
No. Oh, gee.
I think it's frightening that somebody actually put that together on the web. That's what's really scary.
Well, it's on the internet. It must be true.
It's on Wikipedia.
You remember that commercial, Bonjour? This guy is a French model. Have you seen that commercial?
All right, folks, 1-800-795-9565. The premise for our conversation is that the more concealed carry permits you have, the lower violent crime goes. There are some statistics to say that coincidentally, violent crime is lower in some areas where there are more concealed carry permits. Is there a connection? I say no, it's just coincidence that there is less violent crime in general, more concealed carry permits because more people are enjoying guns and feel they want the protection. Criminals don't know who's got a concealed gun or not. Half the time they end up using the person's concealed gun to hurt the person anyway.
So you're in favor of disarming the populace?
No, I'm in favor of open carry. That's the way to go.
You mean you wear it on your shoulder, on the holster, like they did in the Wild West?
No, like they do all over the U.S. now. 1-800-795-9565. Weigh in on this important gun conversation if you would. Mike, you are on the mark.
Hey, I hear you guys kicking around gun stats, and I've seen lots of stats where it shows where there's more gun ownership, there's always lower crime. I mean, I've never seen a stat anywhere that said where there's high gun ownership, there's high crime. It's always illegal guns or guns that were stolen, but never legally carried guns in an area that allows it to be done pretty easily. And it's always the other way around. I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's always that way. I saw a statistic where it took the top 30 industrial nations of the world. I mean, the United States ranked number 3 in murder per capita, and we ranked like number 1 for shooting murders. But when you took out the 5 major cities that have gun control, Washington, New York City, Chicago, Detroit, and L.A., we fell to like 27th. I mean, 18% of our population is committing 60% of the gun murders. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't think there's an easy solution to it, but I mean, I don't think putting gun control in the masses will curb crime at all, to be honest. I just feel it's a negative effect. It will embroider criminals to feel safer. I really do believe that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. I've never seen
a
study that showed the opposite. Have you, Mark?
What?
Seen a study that showed that where guns increase, there is more crime.
Well, I think there probably is someplace, but I'm not looking for it or thinking that there is a connection. I just don't think there's a connection. The number of concealed permits, I think, has no impact on anything other than happy gun owners out there, and I think crime is on the decrease because crime is decreasing.
Why do you think they want to carry then? If they don't believe there's some correlation between them being armed and their likelihood of not being attacked by a criminal, Why would they want to carry the gun around?
Well, I think people like guns. People like to carry them. People like to shoot them. They like to have fun. Guns are fun.
I like television sets, but I don't carry one around with me.
No, but you use your smartphone to watch videos because you're...
No, I have a stupid phone.
Oh, do you? Okay, well...
But I mean, there are a lot of things I like that I don't carry around with me.
Okay, that's fine. This makes my point. If you take a couple of nonsensical sentences and then put another sentence in front of it that makes some sense, that doesn't... There's no connection. I think concealed carry permits are on the increase because more people want guns. They may feel less safe and they may want to use them for protection. And I think gun ownership is fun. People like to shoot guns. You see this all the time if you monitor Facebook.
But you can't shoot in the community. You're not allowed to discharge a firearm.
No, you go to a gun range, but gun ranges are busy.
And again, my question, if that's the case, why are people carrying guns?
I think they're fun. I think shooting is
fun.
They're
fun, okay.
Yeah, shooting is
fun. So
I
might get an opportunity
to
shoot somebody. Yes, I have.
Okay.
But I don't carry one around on the off chance I might have something to shoot at. In the average day, the number of times I'd have to draw a gun are rather limited.
Here's another thought that with gun registration or handgun registration, I want the county sheriff to have the serial number of my gun and attached to my name, so if something does happen, I'm actually somewhat protected because that gun has been registered with the sheriff's office, and if I don't have that gun anymore, then I can't be attached to anything that has happened with that gun. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mayor Mark?
No,
Does that make any sense?
But poor Paul is becoming another year older.
I like the fact that the sheriff's office knows I have a handgun.
Well, I think if you're stopped for a traffic violation and you happen to be carrying one, it would be a good idea to advise the police officer that you have it.
Always show him your carry permit first and then your driver's license. And then he's going to say, he or she is going to say, no, where are you carrying your gun right now? And you would answer yes, and you'd say, well, it's in my shoulder holster, see, or whatever. It's
Don't leave it in the glove compartment of the car, though, and then let somebody else drive it. That's a bad idea.
Why?
Because they don't have the permit.
Well, but they're not carrying it. That doesn't count for concealed carry. That's just a storage.
It's a concealed weapon in your presence.
No. Concealing it on your person, not in the vehicle near you. It doesn't count.
You're sure about that?
That's a good. All right, as long as you're sure about that,
You've done that. You leave
better.
your gun in the glove compartment of your car, do you?
No, I wouldn't do that.
You carrying right now?
I refuse to answer on the grounds that it's gone too far. Paul, you're on the mark.
Gentlemen, speaking of gun control, do you remember the TV series of Wyatt Earp when you came into town, everybody had to give their guns up, and when they left town, they got them back?
Yep.
Okay. Now, in Georgia, they passed a law in Kennesaw, and every resident in the county of Kennesaw must have a weapon in their home. That's mandatory by law. And they said since the law was passed, the crime rate in Kennesaw dropped 75%.
All crime?
All crime. And the other thing that we haven't taken into consideration is your statistics is not based on the subject itself. Because when I was in San Antonio, Texas, I was told by a police officer down there that the federal government wants them to reduce a certain crime. So what they did was they changed it. You no longer can arrest somebody for breaking an entry because it no longer is breaking an entry. So therefore, breaking an entry incidents drop. But what they did do is they changed it to now where you are arrested for trying to commit a crime. So what they do is they change the title of the crime itself in order to lower the statistics.
So I want to go back to this town here because Mark is arguing that there is no correlation between weapons, people being armed, and the decrease in crime. But you're saying that in this community where they were required to have firearms that the crime rate dropped 75%?
Yes, and they contribute. The reason is that now criminals don't like the idea that the opposition are on an equal basis. But when a criminal has the upper hand, he feels safe and secure.
Or he has a chance that he has the upper hand. He always could have gone in a home where there is a gun. And not everybody complies with that rule, incidentally. If you read farther into that, not every homeowner has purchased a gun, even though they're required to, which is obviously an unconstitutional requirement, but nonetheless not challenged.
No one's taken it to court?
Not yet.
Well, I know, but we're going back to the days of when we used to be able to carry our sidearms on our side.
Which you can do today. In fact, you don't even need or maybe you do need a carry permit for that.
No, I don't think, as long as it's not concealed, Mark, I think you can carry that in the state of Pennsylvania.
If you have a legitimate permit to own the weapon, I think you can carry it exposed.
Okay. All right. Thank Paul. Very much appreciated.
Take care, Paul.
We're talking about pure coincidence here on the radio today, so give us a buzz.
Pure coincidence.
1-800. One of our listeners sends us a note, says, it should be noted that the number of lemon imports from Mexico...
This is the same listener who sent in the thing about pirates and global warming.
Yeah, but look at this. And the number of fatalities. The number of U.S. highway fatalities continues to go down, and the number of fresh lemons from Mexico is
dropping as well.
Is also going down. So what is the connection, Joe?
Somebody got paid to make that survey, to make that graph.
I think she's a lean, mean graph machine. She can crank out anything. She's so smart. Now, we appreciate it. Let's see. One of our listeners sends us a note. It's all in the subject line. Correlation does not equate to causation. So thank you for that. Very much appreciated. Let's see. One more. Subject guns says, compare the U.S. with Europe for gun ownership and the crime rate. We kill many more people with guns and have higher crime rates than most countries. People carry guns because the NRA makes them frightened to not have one.
Well, they've never made me frightened to not have one.
But haven't you ever considered having a handgun in your home for protection?
No, but I'm not opposed to them, and I might, under some circumstances, purchase one to have around the house, but I don't feel threatened. That's why we have police departments.
Well, the lemon...
And in our borough, we have an excellent one.
The lemon import group is hoping that you'll buy some more lemons and get a gun.
It depends on how you feel safe. Why do you have a carry permit? Why? Because you feel personally threatened, or because you think shooting is fun?
Shooting is fun, and it's fun to carry, and it's just...
Is it fun to shoot people?
I don't know. I've never done that.
Well, what is it fun to shoot? What is it fun to shoot?
I'm going to say no, based on lots of research.
What's it fun to shoot? What do you enjoy shooting?
Targets, animals.
And does this animals? Okay.
I mean, in the right season.
You might plug my dog if you're walking down the street and you don't like the way he's looking at you.
Well, if he starts attacking me, I guess a gun could be an answer. I think probably pepper spray would be better for that, because then you can't pepper spray yourself in the foot, but you can shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, but that's you see, that's my whole point. You don't feel threatened, you say. You think shooting is fun, and yet you're not content to leave your weapon at home and just take it out when you're going to some place where you can have fun shooting it. You want to carry it with you. And none of that is to protect yourself. You don't feel like you might ever be threatened?
I think sometimes I carry a gun for protection, sure. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like if I am dispatched to check out the burglar alarm here at WKOK at 3 in the morning on a weekend, on an early Sunday morning, and the state police are not here yet, and the reason that I'm going up is because of the burglary alarm. I would think I would pack then. Now, that's never happened, but I would think I would probably...
Well, actually, when I was here, it did happen to me once at 3 o'clock in the morning. I came up and found the back door open, and the cops weren't here yet. I just left and went across the street.
And waited. Right.
And waited till the police got here.
Right. So I would think that would be an opportunity where I would think, okay, carrying is matters now, and I might want to think about that.
But you carry at times where you're not in that position.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm asking you as a question.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been other times.
But I think the bottom line to me is that you, whether you want to admit it or not, in most instances feel safer carrying that gun personally. It's not that you're anticipating, gee, I'm going to take my gun with me today because some fun opportunity to shoot it may come up.
I don't feel safer. I don't feel safer. And honestly, you're more nervous because you're thinking, this is serious business.
Okay.
People leave guns in the bathroom and stuff.
Forgive me, but if you're not going to have an opportunity to shoot that day, and it actually makes you feel a little nervous, why do you carry it?
Just that day. I don't know. It's fun. It's kind of it's like a macho thing, It's like a power trip.
Say, look at me, baby. I'm packing.
Right. That's what I say to people on the street.
Hey, I'm packing.
All right. Well, we have to take a quick break. Kevin's going to start waving his arms left and right here if we do not. So we will take a quick break. 1-800-795-9565 is the open phone. We're talking about pure coincidence. When the crime rate goes down, concealed carry permits go up. Which came first, or are neither connected? The number of lemons being imported, temperatures rising, pirates virtually unheard of except off the coast of one section of Africa.
Somali.
And we'll take it from there. 1-800-795-9565.
I like my breakfast like I like my rock. Soft. So I eat Belvita Soft Baked Breakfast Biscuits, a tasty breakfast option for nutritious morning energy. It's just what I want before writing a flute solo that will softly rock every dentist's office around. Try Belvita Soft Baked in oats and chocolate, cinnamon, mixed berry, and banana bread. Belvita, mourn and win.
Just when you thought summer couldn't get any better, the Home Depot has 15% off in-store patio furniture. So let's show the back patio a little love for a lot less. Give it the attention it deserves and your friends the invitation they've been looking for. The party's on at your place. Let's do this. 15% off in-store patio furniture. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. While supplies last, U.S. only. Products and prices may vary by store. Discount taken at register.
For more than 3 years now, Radio PA and PAMatters.com have brought you exclusive monthly conversations with Governor Tom Corbett. It's your chance to have the Governor of Pennsylvania answer your questions and comments on the issues affecting you.
The state has had a very difficult time as a legislature to come up with the resolve to deal with this head on. I said when I ran the first time, I'm going to make the tough decisions, and that's what people want you to make.
Let us answer your question on our next Ask the Governor program. Go to PAMatters.com today and click on the Ask the Governor link at the top of the page.
Important pieces of legislation that play into the budget, not the least of which is the pension issue.
PAMatters.com is also home to exclusive video clips from Ask the Governor, a show honored as Best Public Affairs and Best Talk Show by the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and the PA Associated Press Broadcasters Association.
I'm Governor Tom Corbett. Please join me on Radio PA and PAMatters.com for a discussion on the issues facing our Commonwealth. Submit your questions or comment today.
Ask the Governor on PAMatters.com.
No one plans for it to happen, but we get older every day. You find yourself making plans for a loved one's care, and you're not sure where to go or how to begin. It's hard enough to put a loved one in a nursing home or skilled care facility without having to understand or interpret all your options and decisions you now face. That's where Scheib Law offices can help. Call 570-523-3200 or visit online at scheiblaw.com. Let their experience help guide you through the process and take away some of the burden. Scheib Law offices, planning for your tomorrow.
Lift for Life is coming up for the Penn State football players on Saturday. The head of uplifting athletes at Penn State is linebacker Ben Klein. He'll join us today on the show 3 to 5 News Radio 1070 WKOK.
I can rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat.
Welcome back to WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. I am Mark Lawrence, a very below-average host of the show, but you'll be very happy to know, and Dave from Sunbury will be ecstatic to know that Joe's going to be in here 5 days in a row, and I'm going to take some undeserved time off. And let's see, Than is going to be in with Joe tomorrow, then Ben on Monday, and Than, I think, on Tuesday and Wednesday. Actually, I don't know if I've invited Than for Tuesday, so I better issue that invitation, and then Ben back in next Friday. But Joe won't be here.
So it's kind of confusing, isn't it? Yes.
Thank you, Jim, for checking in. You're on the mark.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mark, Joe, and Kevin. Yes, Mark, I've been a concealed carrier since the days of Sheriff Lauer, and I was in a garage last week, and us fellas up here thought it was pretty neat with that older lady shooting at their guy with a pellet gun in Sunbury who broke into her house.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
They never found that guy, though, did they? And
Not
he had
yet.
apparently a bloody wound on his leg. So somewhere he must have gotten treatment.
Joe, and I have a question for you.
Go
Are
ahead.
you going to use your pontoon boat for pulling logs out of the Susquehanna like the loggers do?
No, I use my propeller to identify where the logs are. I've broken quite a few of them.
I wish I could get a ride on your boat.
Well, you want to pull logs out with it. I don't think I got enough horsepower for you.
No, we'll just sit and drink Bud Light or something, or Coors.
Now you're on. You bring the beer, I'll bring the boat.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jim. Take care.
Yeah,
You too.
Bye.
1-800-795-9565. We're talking about pure coincidence, the connection between
I love your editorial comments. We're not talking about pure coincidence. We're talking about a study that shows there is a correlation between the two.
And
now, you want to debate the veracity or the accuracy of the study, that's one thing. But to label it...
No. The study bears out what is a potential connection and supposes that there's a connection, but there's no evidence of the connection other than that one permit number went up and one incident rate went down, and that is it.
But if it were the other way around, if the study said exactly the opposite, all these people who are sending in things about lemons and the decrease, they would be saying, see, we told you all along, it's these bad guns that are causing the problem. You know they would. If the study showed the exact opposite.
Oh, thank you. Our producer is full service. He's even opening the emails now. Thank you. Hold still, buddy. Now I can't see it. It's too low. Okay. I heard from Alex Jones that since President Obama can't legally take our guns away, he's ordered the federal government to start hoarding guns and ammunition so law-abiding citizens like me can't afford to stock up on ammo. But yeah, more issues. Yeah, the dilemma.
I understand ammo is expensive these days, or there's a shortage of it. Why is there a shortage
it's going
of it?
down. Well, part of it is the federal government is beefing up on ammo reserves because of, perceived, future shortages are possible, which of course drives up the price for you and I if you can get ammo. But a lot of that is stabilized now. That's really the first 5 years of the Obama administration. All that is stabilized, or it's starting to stabilize, and gun prices are back down.
Well, Mark, didn't the U.S. government, as you said, buy a lot of the ammunition, and then brass price went up, so it was even tough to finding reload supplies. So the manufacturers even couldn't keep up with demand because of the combination of increased gun ownership and the government buying more and more of the ammunition. Is that's the way I understood it?
Right, yeah, and that's the gun lure. I don't know how much of that is actually fact, but certainly gun prices went way up, and used gun prices went way up at gun shows.
Is there a market for recycled parts of the bullet that aren't used?
There was lately. Yeah, there didn't used to be much of a market of it, but there is now. It used to be things that hunters would give away, or if somebody decided to give up reloading, they'd give their brass away, but now it's pretty valuable stuff.
Mark, do you find that now the reloading supplies are a little bit better than they were? I talked to a lot of guys that reload and do their own, reloading, and said that supplies were really difficult to find, but now it's not as bad over the last maybe year or so.
I've heard that it is easy. I haven't purchased anything that relates to firearms, weapons, ammo, or anything in so long.
Oh, so you don't have any ammo for your gun?
I have plenty of ammo, but I just haven't needed it. I haven't shot anyone lately, so you'll be sad to know that.
But you own the gun because shooting's fun, and you're not availing yourself of the fun times you could be having shooting?
Not often, no. It's just because of this situation. It's really somewhat of an expensive habit, so you don't just stop by the gun range on your way home the way you might have about 8 years ago.
Well, here's a good example, Mark. 22 long rifle, well, not shells, but bullets. I could pick those up for maybe a couple of bucks for 100. Now it's almost $5 to $6 100.
And are they limited?
And going up.
Are they limited?
They used to be, but I don't think they are now. I think it depends on the store stock. For instance, one of the big retailers down in the Reading area, whose name I shall not mention, they actually would limit to 2 boxes per person of an individual type of shells. Yeah, but again, that was about a year ago, and supplies were a lot lower. Rifle, I think, was more of the issue than shotgun shells. Rifle shells were what I was seeing that was more of an issue.
Now,
and
handguns. Rifles are not the deterrent that handguns are, according to this study.
Not as much. No, you don't really use them for self-defense. Shotguns, somewhat, especially stubby guns.
Assault weapons?
What do you mean, semi-automatic rifles?
Yeah.
They're not really used for home protection or personal protection.
What are they used for?
Guys like them, or women and men like them. Gun owners like them. I don't have one. Guys love these. They call them ARs. The automatic rifle is probably where the AR stands for, but they're not automatic. They're semi-automatic.
They're for shooting.
I would certainly think
for
that
shooting.
Before I broke into someone's house, if they had one of those, I'd give it some serious thought, wouldn't you?
Well, if you had a sign on the door that says "I'm armed with an AR-15, come on in," it said, "Don't come in. I'm armed with an AR-15."
Well, some gun owners do advertise that fact on signs outside their house.
Burglars love that because they wait till they know that the fellow's gone and then they go steal it.
Steal the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Unless like you, they're carrying it around with them.
At all? Oh, yeah, I got an AR over my shoulder, don't you? You can't see it because of I'm facing.
I always used to be frightened sitting over in my office here, and I'd look out and I'd see guys at hunting season walking past my window with guns.
Yeah.
Some use ARs. I don't know that you can in this state.
You can't use them for hunting.
Yeah, but some states you can use them for like duck hunting and goose.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but from a shooting standpoint, yeah, a lot of people use ARs for target shooting. And
well, it's just a .308 with a shorter rifle, basically. You know, if you have a high caliber one, which is a sniper's caliber, .308. You know that,
you have
right?
a sniper weapon, do you?
I do have a .308, but it isn't a sniper rifle.
Have you sniped at anybody recently?
Sniped only at you. 1-800-795-9565 is our telephone number. Get us out of here, Percy. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Call us now. We're talking about the pure coincidence between gun ownership and lower crime rates. 1-800-795-9565. Call us now. Do you think it's true or not?
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Here's something to think about. How do you know if your insurance is the right price? Have you ever had your insurance reviewed? Do you remember when it was reviewed? And are you getting all the discounts you deserve? Let Groninger Insurance Agency give you a free, no-obligation second opinion on your auto, home, or business insurance. Give the Groninger Insurance Agency a call today at 570-473-8107. They're proud to represent the Erie Insurance Group. It's true, if you're not insured by Groninger Insurance, you're probably paying too much.
The Selinsgrove Chamber of Commerce will again sponsor the Antiques on the Avenue show, Sunday, July 13th from 9 till 3 on University Avenue. You'll find over 40 dealers with a variety of antiques and collectibles, all set against the serene backdrop of the beautiful Susquehanna University. Browse the stoneware, china, toys, jewelry, primitives, and so much more. There'll be easy parking, a lunch stand, and a player piano. All proceeds go to the Chamber's Scholarship Fund, given to a Selinsgrove area high school students to help further their education. Visit selinsgrove.net for info. The new Susquehanna Valley Country Club, now under new management, newly renovated, newly updated, the highest quality product and highest level of service offered in the valley, with ambiance and views that are second to none. We are the obvious choice for private club membership. We are also the premier choice for weddings, special events, business meetings, and golf tournaments. We provide unforgettable experiences for up to 350 people. We treat each and every guest as if they were a member, and we treat our members like family at the Susquehanna Valley Country Club.
Welcome back to the KOK Live Telephone Talk Show. We thank you so much for calling in. We're talking about pure coincidence. That is the number of violent crimes going down while the number of concealed carry permits goes up. Of course, you can't see the guns that all these people are carrying, but the criminals just sense it, and so they go to in the next town. 1-800-795-9565. Call us now. Just about out of time. I'm Mark Lawrence, Joe McGranahan, the co-host, Kevin Herr, greatest engineer that we have ever known in all of planetary science. Doris, thank you so much for calling in. First-time caller, glad to have you on the line. You're on the mark.
Yes, 30 years ago, I dropped my daughter off at school, and one of the school teachers was parking her car, and she had a sticker on the back of her car that read in big letters, "When guns are outlawed, only outlaws would have guns." So that was a food for thought.
That is food for thought.
Well, yeah, that's that old NRA sticker. Yeah, that's a classic.
She had that on her bumper sticker.
Well, nobody's going to make guns illegal in the U.S., President Obama or anyone else, so...
No,
they might
but
try.
I mean, she had that on then already.
But maybe Hillary will.
Yeah. Well, just thought it was food for thought.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you
Doris.
very much,
Appreciate your
Doris.
call.
Very much appreciated. Yeah, and she's
Thank
not,
you.
she's
Take
not
care.
a first-time caller. I recognize her voice. so
Okay,
we
sorry about that.
appreciate 1-800-795-9565. Call us now. These are the closing moments of a concealed carry conversation. Do the presence of more concealed carry permits lower crime rates? We do have an emailer that sent us a note, and
where is that?
Well, it went away. Kevin is busy with our switching device here. I'll try it again. There we go. From Norm, did reduce crime. However, this message.
There's a link you have to access.
We need the link. We don't have time to do that right now. Do you think that crime is down because of carrying? You shot a gun. How did you shoot a gun?
At remember the Sportsman Outdoor Show in Harrisburg?
Mm-hmm.
They used to have target practice there, and you could pay to shoot guns.
With 22s,
probably. 22s, yeah. That's.
Okay.
I was a city boy. We didn't have too many opportunities to shoot deer down in Harrisburg.
City boys don't have guns. Okay.
No,
well, that was then.
They do today. And there's just been, I look at Harrisburg and the number of gun violence incidents down there, shootings almost every day, and sometimes the people get killed and sometimes they're just seriously injured. And I don't know that, and the people involved seem to have guns on both sides. So I don't know that, I'm just quoting the study. I'm not advocating, and I'm advocating it because you're taking the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was some correlation between it that would be proven, then I would think I'd have to seriously consider whether or not to arm myself. But I view the police as being that function in our community, don't you?
Right, and I think you said that the number of gun crimes is up in the Harrisburg area, but I think you have a half a dozen really key things that are happening there. You have a poverty factor that's exacerbated. You have a police department that had to have some layoffs because of budgetary realities. I'm not being critical of the previous mayor or anything, and then you also have a drug trade and a drug situation that that all kind of seems to go together, but again, it's only affecting a certain segment of the population. The whole city of Harrisburg is not rampantly engaged in this. It's in certain parts, and it's typically individuals that are involved in the drug trade. It's not a racial issue, I can tell you that, because it's whites and blacks versus each other, and Hispanics and everybody else down in Harrisburg. And it's still just 1 or 2% of the population. But of course, when someone shoots someone,
actually, it doesn't seem to be cross race. It seems to be black against black, Hispanic against Hispanic, and white against white. I mean, I haven't seen any reports of people being shot in the white neighborhoods by blacks or anything like that. So I think it probably has something to do with ethnicity, but not cross-race ethnicity.
Well, yeah, that could be. I'd have to monitor that. I haven't really followed it closely, but I do know from what the Associated Press tells us about Harrisburg is that there's an urban decline that's happened in a greater way that has happened in other towns too. So gun violence is up, but the same story. If you go, I can take you to sections of Reading where this has happened, where violence is just more common occurrence. And let's see, another city just said they were having not Williamsport, but I forget. But anyway, another city, some Altoona or some other place, so that they have pockets of greater crime.
The problem is, I don't think there's any problem with law-abiding citizens having guns. The problem is law-abiding citizens are not the only ones with guns. If you could somehow limit it, and I agree that you're never going to get rid of gun violence because you're never going to get rid of people obtaining them who probably shouldn't have them. But in the long run, what makes you feel safer, I think, is what you should be doing. If you believe that you feel safer carrying a gun, then I think you should carry one.
Have you ever considered that you should have a gun at your house?
Yeah, I've considered it. And who knows, maybe I actually have one.
Oh, and you're not, so you're laying low.
Here's the thing, though.
You don't have a permit to carry, but anyway, go ahead, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, here's the thing to remember, though, that if you do have a gun and a permit or no permit or use it for hunting or whatever your choice is, there's a responsibility that goes with it, the responsibility of ownership. And I think sometimes people take that lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
We wanted to close, if we could. We have an email about who the Disney characters were who got married.
If I could actually use our email to read emails, Kevin, if you could stand down for a moment. Disney characters who were married include Cinderella and Prince, Ariel and Eric, Aladdin and Jasmine, Pongo and Perdita, Rapunzel and Flynn, Tiana and Naveen. Mickey and Minnie are just dating, while Goofy has a son. No wedding was ever celebrated on screen. And last but not least, Robin Hood and Maid Marian wed in the animated movie.
Donald Duck and Daisy, we don't know about.
We don't know, but we're very curious. And
that's the Mickey-Minnie relationship has been a 50-year-plus relationship. They just can't.
I think
you
ought to
give
the girl a ring.
WKOK Sunbury.